Percy here, everyone. Here's a question. Here's a scenario. Imagine this. You are at an airport in America, Chicago. Someone walks up to you and they say their name, introduce themselves. That is what we're going to talk about today in detail. The second part. So part 3 of the IIWC, but we're going to talk about the second I, the introduction, right after this.
今日のエピソードでは英語圏である西洋諸国における特定の社会的状況についての重要なソーシャルイングリッシュのヒントをお教えします。アメリカ、カナダ、イギリス、その他の英語圏の国で実際に使えるように英会話のスキルアップに焦点を当てた社会的状況に関する大事なヒントを聞きながら学んでいきます。
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Social English Podcast. This is your host, Percy, once again. I am so happy that you are listening on the other end and excited you wanted to join me today to listen to the Social English Podcast. Let's help you get better with English a little bit every single day. Now, if you are listening to this episode or you haven't listened to the podcast for a while, this is part 3 of the series on English conversational basics. We are talking about the IIWC pattern. Now, if you missed it, please listen to episode 126, where I talk about the IIWC pattern in more detail. Now, if you are an intermediate or advanced high-level English learner, you've had English in high school, in college, and you still are learning English, this episode is going to be good for you. It teaches you about the conversation structure. A lot of people, even English speakers, don't notice this or don't understand this. But this is a social English to get you to understand conversation, because conversation is a social act. It's not just conversation. There's so much to it. There's so much to it, and I really want to share with you as much as knowledge as I can and as much as I can get to help you get better at understanding it, because my goal is for you to be very comfortable and relaxed and enjoy, not be stressed. I know many of my Japanese friends that even speak English, they get scared or stressed about speaking English. You should enjoy the process, enjoy the results, enjoy speaking English. Okay, so let's do a quick review of the topic for today. In most English-speaking countries in the West, there is a certain pattern in conversations. Here at Social English, of course, we want to help you understand the patterns. Because if you can understand the patterns, you could understand why a person is talking to you. You can appreciate they want to have a conversation with you, and you can learn something about the person, the culture. So much you can learn by just learning social English. I'm going to give you the structure for the pattern one more time, okay? It is called the IIWC pattern, okay? You can use this pattern by yourself. You can use this pattern yourself when you are speaking to a native English speaker, and you can also practice listening or hearing this pattern when people speak to you or in other conversations. You can say, "Oh, I heard the I. Oh, I heard the C. Oh, I heard the W. Wow, that's interesting. There is an IIWC pattern." Okay? So, let's go into our next I, okay? Remember, the IIWC pattern is the icebreaker, introduction, why, and continuance, okay? So today we're going to talk about the second I. The second I, that stands for introduction. Yeah, that's right. Introduction. The I in introduction is the second action that happens in the conversation. The introduction I, it has one main focus, really. Okay? The person is telling you their name and who they are. Okay? So we're going to start with the basics. Sometimes they will only use their name. They will only use their name sometimes. You know, it really depends on the person and the situation. Sometimes they use their name and sometimes they don't. One more thing to one more thing to note, to take note of, to remember. Please remember, the IIWC pattern is not for professional or college conversations. It's not to talk to your college professor or a doctor or anything like that. This is for when you are meeting new people in social situations, okay? Or even in school. So in school, at a grocery store, at a supermarket, movie theater, someone talks to you at a farmer's market, pretty much anywhere outside of business or shopping or buying something. So it's just speaking to regular people. Okay. So let's go into the examples. Here are examples, okay, for the second I. Now, first, let's look at examples of the introduction. Okay, let's look at some introduction examples just using the name. Okay, let's look at some examples. Example 1. I'm Kate. Example 2. My name is Kate. Example 3. My name is Jolene, but you can call me Joe. Okay, so those were all examples of when someone speaks to you using just the name only. Let's, in the I introduction part of the pattern, let's do that one more time. 1. I'm Kate. 2. My name is Kate. 3. My name is Jolene, but you can call me Joe. Now, there are definitely more ways to do the name only introduction. Okay, the name only intro, but let's focus on these three right now. Okay? So I'm Kate is probably the shortest version. It's the shortest. My name is Kate. Maybe sometimes the person feels they need to use a little bit more formal English. Just a little bit. And my name is Jolene, but you can call me Joe. Okay, so the thing about the last one, the third example, is that when Jolene says, but you can call me Joe, do you understand what that means? But you can call me Joe? This is an amazing gesture that Jolene is letting you call her nickname of Joe. That means she wants you to be in her friend circle. She wants to be your friend. It's very subtle English. It's very, very subtle and slight. But this means that Jolene wants you to be in her friend circle. And I've talked about the circles, the conversational circles in a previous episode. Please look it up where I explain the three circles, the three social circles. Okay, so she wants you to be in her friend circle. In fact, it's an invitation for you to come into her friend circle. That's what that means. Okay, so let's talk about the name and what they do intro. Okay, this type of introduction. Here are some examples. Example 1. I'm Justin. I'm a business major. Example 2. My name is Jessica. I'm a friend of Chris. Example 3. I'm Christina. I live on the 4th floor. Okay, so those were 3 basic examples of someone introducing you with their name and basically a little bit more information or what they do. Let's go over the first example. I'm Justin. I'm a business major. If you are a student studying abroad, you will hear this quite a bit. If you go to a social event, such as a campus party, a study group, or just in your classroom, the first day of the classroom, you will hear this. Even sometimes the teachers have the students introduce themselves in the first part of the class. So it really depends on what's going on. That is the first part. That is the introduction that you would hear from a college person or in college or a college setting. If you go to a party or a festivity or a game where there happen to be a lot of college students, you would hear that. But you could also hear that at the store or fast food or something like that. So that is the first one. How about the second one? My name is Jessica. I'm a friend of Chris. So, Jessica, this is usually in a gathering, maybe a study group. It could also be in maybe an event, like a hiking trip, a canoeing trip, a camping trip. It could also be at an evening event, a night event, such as karaoke, a bar hop, bar crawl, like these, or something like that. So basically, an event where there's going to be a lot of people together, many people together, you would hear this particular version. Okay? So now let's look at the next one. Well, one more thing about that one. Okay? So my name is Jessica. I'm a friend of Chris. So Jessica is also telling you, when she says, I'm a friend of Chris, she's letting you know that she is part of that social circle. She is part of the in-friend group with Chris, and she associates you with Chris. So she's saying, oh, you can trust me. I'm a good person because I'm already friends with Chris. Okay? That's what the underlying meaning, the underlying meaning of this means. Okay? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, example 3. I'm Christina. I live on the 4th floor. Okay? This means that Christina, let's assume, okay, you live in an apartment, or even if you go to a hotel on vacation, maybe you get an Airbnb. Christina is telling you, hey, I'm no stranger really. I live in this building. You will see me a lot. So please say hi. This is what I live on the 5th floor means. That basic I live on the 5th floor says a lot, many, many things. Okay? So please understand that. Okay. Now, also, these are just a few examples, yet there are many, many more. But if you learn to understand these, listen to them, and listen to the underlying meaning that I explained, okay, you will start to understand persons. You will really start to begin to understand how a person sees you in a conversation and how they feel about you.
この章を気に入っていただけたら、5つ星のレビューをぜひお願いします。コメントは英語か日本語でお書きいただければ喜んで読ませていただきます。realsocialenglish.com にアクセスしてぜひ無料でダウンロードしてください。ほとんどの日本人の英語を勉強している人がやってしまいがちな7つの間違いとその正しい言い方。また、毎日英語を上達させるのに役立つ資料もたくさんあります。Apple Podcast、Google Podcast、Stitcher、そして今はパンドラでもポッドキャストを購読いただきます。支援者になっていただけませんか？私たちがこのショーを作るための支援として$5の寄付をお願いできませんか？今後のエピソードで感謝の気持ちをお伝えします。また、そこでしか利用できない新しいコンテンツも入手できます。patreon.com/socialenglish からご参加ください。ソーシャルメディアで私たちのポッドキャストを友達にシェアしたり、Twitter、Facebook、Instagram のフォローをお願いします。
Okay, everybody. That's it. You made it to the end of the podcast. That was it. That is the introduction part. The second part of the IIWC, but the third part of this series. So the second I, introduction. Now, don't forget, I will go through this pattern in further episodes. We'll get to the W. We'll go through the W. We'll go through the C. And maybe we'll wrap up with using all 4 in one dialogue so you can hear different examples that I can make, so you can hear exactly what is going on and you can identify the I, the W, and the C in the conversation. Okay? All right. Let's see. What I'd like to do for you is I'd like you to try something for today's action item. I want you to try to make 2 name and who you are introductions in the English, social English style. Okay, so not Japanese style. Don't try to change from Japanese to English. Don't do that. Don't try to change from Spanish to English. Don't try to change from Chinese to English or whatever your native English is to English. Please use, I demand, use the structure I gave you in these episodes. Okay? Your name and then who you are. If you're a student, whether you're studying, if you are where you live, where you're from. There's so many ways to use connections. You're friends with this person, so please use those. And what I want you to do is go to your English-speaking friend. Okay? Ask your English-speaking friend, how do I do this? Or not how do I do it, but introduce yourself to your English-speaking friend and have them listen to what you're speaking. As a matter of fact, I want you to try with, if you can, with someone with the same level of English as you, and then explain to them the IIWC pattern and explain to them what the I is, what you just did as your introduction, and explain to them that this is part of every conversation when you're meeting someone new. Okay? So, practice that with them, or if you don't have that a person, remember, use your conversational avatar that we created in a previous episode. Use your conversational avatar. It is a great tool to use to help you get better at English. Okay, now that is all for today's episodes. Okay, remember, we'll talk about the other letters in the next episode. Also, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and all of the other podcast platforms, Amazon Music. Thank you, my listeners from Amazon Music. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace and love.
今日は楽しい時間をありがとうございました。ぜひ私たちのウェブサイト realsocialenglish.com を訪問して日本語訳と役立つ情報を手に入れてください。また次回お会いしましょう。バイバイ。See you next time. Bye bye.